lots of thoughts trying to come out at the same time. But,
Is Keir Starmer basically a red Tory? Is his Labour worse than a Tory Lite vision of what Labour would be? Watch to the end of the clip where we shall discuss further.
Rosie Duffield to discuss whether Keir Starmer is actually a bit of a Tory. Rod and Rosie, welcome to Spectator TV. Slashing winter fuel allowance, keeping the two-child benefits cap, cutting foreign aid, cutting the civil service, axing NHS bureaucracy and slashing welfare spending. Rod, are we actually living under a Conservative government?
No, because the Conservative government didn't do any of that because it didn't have the appetite for it or the bravery. I've actually, in the last month, considered rejoining the Labour Party. It's a blue Labour Party. It reflects pretty much everything I ever wanted from the Labour Party. There are a few problems. I think Rachel Reeves is a problem. But other than that, I think it is doing things which will make it appeal to working class voters far more than it did in the first 100 days of its existence. And I don't for a moment blame Rosie at all, who I think is a terrific MP and a great figure in the House of Commons. I don't blame Rosie for having resigned the whip when she did, because I think the first kind of 150 days of Labour were catastrophic. And you were right about the winter fuel allowance. That was completely wrong of the Labour government to do that. But suddenly a kind of realism afflicted the party, the government, pretty much as soon as Donald Trump had been elected as president. And I think that's the change that's happened. And I think what it can do now is carry on appealing to working class voters. It's still remarkably, despite its enormous unpopularity in those first 150 days, ahead in the polls. The Tories nowhere to be seen. And reform, as I've always said, will never get much more than 25% ever, no matter what they do. So no, I think Labour has performed incredibly well since about the middle of December, early January. I think Sir Keir Starmer's, much though I'm not his greatest fan, I have to say, and I know Rosie isn't, I think he's performed reasonably well.
So it is time to stop pretending. We were told again and again and again that Keir Starmer's Labour wasn't really Tory Lite. It was just strategy. A bit of three-dimensional chess. Once in power, we were promised that the radicalism would emerge. Yet here we are. Labour is in government, and instead of radical change, we've got something even worse than Tory Lite. We've got a government targeting the most vulnerable, whilst dressing it up as fairness. They've gone after pensioners by cutting winter fuel payments. They've left a cruel two-child benefit cap in place, pushing thousands of children into poverty. And now they're coming for disabled people, floating cuts to personal independence payments, vital support for those with long-term illnesses and serious health conditions. Only after a massive backlash did they start to wobble, but that it wasn't even compassion, it was panic. Let's be clear, this is not about balancing the books fairly. Labour isn't taking on the rich or reforming our broken tax system. Instead, they're shielding the asset-owning elite whilst cutting support for those who need it the most. It's the same austerity playbook, just with different branding. It's now red. And Labour knows exactly what they're doing. Wes Streeton even bragged that the Tories must be embarrassed because Labour is delivering the cuts they only ever talked about. But if that's true, what's the point of Labour? The answer seems not to be to look and sound as un-Labour as possible whilst trying to outflank the right, not serve the people who need them. The government isn't even being held back by caution, it's defined by it. We're watching ministers boast about cuts whilst brushing off internal criticism as pearl clutching. Meanwhile, they're being caught accepting free concert tickets and perks, like Rachel Reeves attending a Sabrina Carpenter gig, whilst telling disabled people to tighten their belts. It's not just tone deaf, it is insulting. And at the centre of it all is Starmer, absent, vague, full of platitudes, and will go anywhere where the wind blows. We were told he'd come good and that he was holding back until the time was right, but how many chances do you give someone before admitting that they've got fuck all to offer? Even insiders say he's just a passenger, a vehicle for the ambitions of those around him. The danger now isn't just Labour failure, it's what fills that vacuum. Reform UK is growing, undeniable. People are angry. If Labour won't fight for them, they'll look elsewhere. The old cycle, Labour fails, Tory takes over and we start again, is breaking down. The stakes are higher now, and if we let it slide, We're not just looking at another disappointing government, we're looking at the rise of something far worse. It's time to stop waiting for Labour to deliver a future, because it clearly has no intention of building one. We need something new, something truly progressive, because if we don't offer real people hope, somebody else will offer them fear, and we've seen where that leads. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've been Jay from Just Shake. As always, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Facebook page, and feel free to support the channel in any way you like. Thank you for watching. See you later. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.